Alright, so we got a package here from Rails' Sheffield. So, I mean, I already know what's in here, but something that I've been actually eagerly anticipating for quite a while. And it is of the brand new, well, not entirely brand new, but new Bachmann 9Fs. These are the new and improved Bachmann 9Fs. So these have, what was it, Plux 22 sockets now, and God knows what else. So I do have a sound fitted one. I'll get it out here. It's this one, and they both are of the preserved examples. So this one is of 92134, which is the sole surviving single chimney 9F, and then the other one is of 92212. So yeah, so we'll get them out and we'll take a look at them and see what Bachmann have done. So be right back. Alright, so here are the two 9Fs. So we'll get these out and we'll take a look and see what Bachmann have done. Since these are technically upgraded, I am curious to see if Bachmann have moved the coder socket, because if you have a Bachmann 9F, then you'll know that the socket is annoyingly in here and not in the tender where it should be. And seeing as this is a sound fitted version, and this is the first time that the Bachmann 9F has been offered factory fitted with sound, I would assume that they moved it to the tender, because if not, if it's in the locomotive, I will be very disappointed. So let's just leave it at that. So like I said, these are both the preserved examples. So this one is I want to say the one that's at the Watercress line, but last time I checked it was at Butterley for overhaul, so that one. And then this one is the single chimneyed version, which is the sole surviving single chimneyed version. There was two, but one of them got cut up in the 80s, which left this one to be this whole sole surviving single chimney 9F. So yeah, so I'll take one of them out. We'll see if Bachmann have done anything, if they've changed anything, if anything's different, obviously. So yeah, and then with the sound fitted version, we'll just you know, I'll do my usual running at the end of the video. So see you in a little bit. Right, so here's the new and improved Bachmann 9F out of the box, and I say improved because they've actually changed some things. One of the things being the instructions. If I just do that right there, as you can see, they're actually the glossy. Well, I say glossy, like the more modern. Yeah, they're the more modern bit of paper, the instructions. So that's good. And yeah, they all come with factory fitted speakers. So which is also good. Now the main reason for me getting two of these, because one is the single chimney 9F, and I actually do want to know if they've actually changed the sound file to, you know, be appropriate for a single chimney 9F and not just reuse a double chimney one, because we do have a single chimney 9F in preservation and it is that locomotive. So yeah, we'll see very shortly. But yeah, so it looks really good. So far so good. It is a bit dusty and stuff. Most new models are these days. I don't know why. But I do like the finish. I really like the matte paint on the smoke box, which looks realistic, I suppose. However, that will be enhanced with, you know, actual weathering. It does have a very nice satin, what's the term, satin finish, which is nice. There is a bit of a glue mark there, but that's fine. It's not as bad as on my recent Duchess. So, I mean, most people will say, oh, you should just send it back because it has glue marks. Well, no. That thing, I'm probably going to send it back, but yeah. Anyways, there's painted pipework, but that's only on this version. The other 9Fs, they don't have that, and even the other preserved 9F that I've got doesn't have it either. The cab, I actually want to talk about this because the cab, they've actually painted, as you can see. It is painted on Evening Star on like the most recent iteration of Evening Star, but the outside, I wouldn't say the outside, but like the interior of the cab, it isn't painted. So the fact that it is painted actually enhances it even more. So not only are all the instructions, yes, the instructions. Oh god, the cab controls. Not only are they painted, but the gauges actually have little needles and dials on them. And some locomotives don't have that. Like even the new G5s, which ironically came the same day as this. I'm not kidding, so that review will be scripted and written. Those didn't have painted dials in the cab. And that is what I want to talk about. That was what I was most curious about, is that tender connection. So they've finally upgraded it. And not only have they upgraded it, right? They've also added tender pickups. But they've only added it to the first two wheels. I don't know why the rear set of wheels doesn't have it, even though it's like clearly insulated. I don't know why they've done that. Maybe, you know, because they've actually decided that you're going to have to take the wheel out at some point for whatever reason. But yeah, it actually has tender pickups now. So that's, you know, good. Maybe it'll enhance performance even better, because these are good. In my opinion, the Bachmann 9Fs, they're good. It's only that certain YouTuber who's slagged them off because he got a bad example. So, yeah, my Evening Star doesn't run nowhere near as bad as his does, and I'm certain to say that these two examples probably won't run like that either. But yeah, yeah. So it's got the horrid plug, but I will gladly take that plug over the god-awful assembly that was on the V2. So, yeah. And, yeah, so these have Plex 22 sockets in the tender, I believe. I hope it's in the tender. If it's in the locomotive, I'm actually going to be very upset. So, yeah, let me just pause and I will be back so I could write this thing. Be back in a jiff. Right, so the 9F has been turned back the right way up, and we are now facing the other side. The other side is equally as good, apart from a glue mark, especially like right there on the cab. I think that's fine. You'll see on my Duchess, my recent Duchess that I've got. Apparently, you can put that in like I can do community tabs now, or community posts. So I'll throw up a picture of that on the community post thing eventually, but my recent Duchess is like really bad. So I'm not too bothered by glue marks on these. I'm more upset about the Duchess, if I'm going to be completely honest. But yeah, so again, I love that contrast. I love that contrast between like the matte on the smoke box and the satin on the boiler and the deflectors. It is realistic, because I've seen pictures and videos, because that's all I've got, of not just 9Fs, but like other locomotives with deflectors, like Duchesses and Britannias, hell, even Tornado and Scotsman. The smoke box is like dirty. It's dirty as hell, and then the boiler, parts of the boiler, you know, like not the top, but like the sides, and even like the deflectors, they'll be clean. And the smoke box will be all sooty, and I mean the running board as well, that should be like sooty, but it's not. It should be matte as well. But like I said, this will be enhanced with further weathering. There we go. The valve gear, yes, there we go. That's one of my problems with the 9Fs, the Bachmann 9Fs, is this horrible plastic thing that has worked its way loose. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this thing. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna glue that back on at a much later date. Oh, I've never noticed those lubricator pot things between the frames. That's actually nice. Valve gear is nice, of course. Apart from that, that's one thing I do commend the Hornby 9F for, is the, like, all the valve gear is metal, including this little plastic bit. I don't know why it's plastic. I don't know why Bachmann made that choice, but it is. Yeah, and I'll say this in my review, the Hornby 9F. I'll say this again, because I said it in the review, which you probably won't see for like a couple months. But they're both equally good. Hornby wins on detail, but, you know, the Bachmann one, it's older, and it is heavier than the Hornby 9F. Even though the Hornby 9F only has a die-cast boiler, the Bachmann 9F has a die-cast running board, which I believe made it more heavier, because in my opinion, I'm gonna sound stupid, I know, but like in my opinion, the running board takes up more mass than the boiler, so that's why, like, I don't know, I'm not making any sense, but that I want to say that's why it's heavier than the Hornby one. Yeah, so I'll just turn it to the front real quick. You can see the front of the locomotive, kind of. Front is good as well, apart from the semi separately fitted smoke box dart, which looks a bit meh. These deflectors are actually made of metal. They're actually, like, I think they're brass. Hornby's 9F isn't made of metal. They're all plastic, and that's the same with all their standards, like the the Britannia and the Clan. They have very big chunky plastic smoke deflectors which look horrible. And as you can see in the background, that one, camera focus, that Hornby Britannia is getting I would say retrofitted, but it's actually, the plastic smoke deflectors are getting replaced with proper metal ones, and it's proving to be a very difficult task, and I don't like it. But just, you know, realism. So you don't get any screw-link couplings. Well, you do, but they're not like the proper moving type, so those will be fitted, obviously, because I do use those. And yeah, BR1F tender, because as appropriate for this particular 9F. I think this is the only one in existence, BR1F tender left in existence. The co-load, I believe it is removable, but it's very difficult to get it out. And then, you know, better shot of the cab interior. Looks good. I'm actually so glad they've done that. That looks so much better. And even the top of the tender has, like, matte paint. Look at that. That's nice. It's really nice. Well done, Bachmann. And then, you know, more decoration. That actually should be a handrail and not like a little bent bit of wire. It should be a proper handrail. That, I might fix that, but we'll see. But yeah, let's actually get it running, or test its performance, see if it's any good. Right, so here is the new Bachmann 9F onto the test track. Yes, I brought the test track back out again because I've come to the conclusion that, strangely, my UK locomotives, they don't like my rolling road. Yeah, the performance on the rolling road, it's not the best. It's usually with like stuff like this, like the 9F. Pretty much anything with weight doesn't like the rolling road. My Rapido Hunslet, my EFE Rail Austerity, a bunch of other locomotives, they're fine, but literally anything else, no. So yeah, that's why we have the test track out. So we're going to test the performance, see if it's any good, because, you know, there's people out there who question the Bachmann 9F. So let's give it some juice. And, of course, flawless performance. And I want to say it's largely due to the tender pickups. Because Evening Star, my Evening Star, she does not run like this. Well, she does. She runs well, but she doesn't run as well as this. And again, largely, I want to say due to the tender pickups. So let's try and Let's just move it off that bit because that's a bad bit of track. Alrighty, so let's try to yeah, because it still needs to be right in. So that was me turning it up, by the way. That's not it like jolting for no particular reason. So I would say slow speed performance could do with some improvement, but like I also said, this has not been ran in, so maybe after a couple turns on the temporary layout, it will probably be just as good. And there's a bit of whining, but that's also probably because, again, it's probably not been lubricated very well out of the factory. So yeah, performance is adequate, in my opinion. If you don't think so, then you're entitled to your own opinion. And also, one thing I'd like to point out is if you buy this particular model, it is incorrectly labeled. It does say it comes with a BR1B tender. That is not true. I think originally when this was announced, because I think this was announced years ago, this was originally supposed to have a BR1B tender, whereas this has a BR1F tender, which is the tender it has presently. So yeah, just a little heads up there for you. But yeah, so let's take a look at the sound fitted version, and then we'll wrap up this whole video. Right, so here's the sound fitted version. This is the single chimney version, like I've constantly stated. But yeah, so this is the sole surviving single chimney 9F. More or less the same, except for the window framing on the glazing, it's painted, and then on the other model, it's not. But yeah, so a lot is largely the same. There's quality more or less, like I said, the same. Nothing too bad, too major. So nothing looks out of place. I don't know what these are called. I want to say like the lubrication rods here, these horrendous plastic things that I don't like. I think that's a common problem, because if I remember correctly, my Evening Star, when that came, that had a similar issue, and that broke, like the join here. If I get paper clip, I can show you, like the join, like right here, that broke on Evening Star, so that had to be glued back on. It didn't break till like much later, about a couple months after I owned it, so it's recently been glued back on. But yeah, on both of these 9Fs, yeah, I think that's a common problem. But yeah, so this is the sound fitted version, so I will attach some clips of it running, essentially backwards and forwards, and you know, because I don't have a DCC controller yet, because I can't be bothered to get one at the moment. But yeah, so that concludes this video. It's basically showcasing the 9Fs, showing, you know, if you are a bit hesitant about the new Bachmann 9Fs, because these were originally supposed to be just the standard, pardon the pun, 9Fs that Bachmann have been making for the last couple of years. There wasn't supposed to be like any upgrades or anything. It was supposed to be literally a relivery, and that was about it. So yeah, I'm actually glad they put the effort into upgrading it, and I suspect it largely had something to do with the Hornby one, because we all know what the Hornby 9F is like. The new Hornby 9F, not the old ancient trying one. So yeah, so like I said, I'll attach some clips to this running. I don't know what it's like under here, so we'll take a look at that. I'll also put some pictures up of the interior of the tender. I really hope it's not in this decoder is not in here, because yeah, it's just poor design. And I understand it came from a time when DCC wasn't really thought of, but now DCC is heavily thought of. Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.